Good morning, good evening, good night. NFT live on the Web3 network. We're taking all the NFT, all the Web3 news, all that nasty stuff that nobody apparently wants to talk about on the day-to-day. And we're putting it into one episode for you guys. So it's good to see you, 1 p.m. Eastern every single day. We might start a little bit post-show, but it's good to see everybody in the house. If you're tuning in afterwards, thank you guys for hopping in here every day. We know that you have other things you could be doing with your time. And we appreciate it very, very much. So we are going to hop into the episode. Pudgy Penguins has been obviously in the news. We are going to hit on some heavy metal pieces. We're going to hit on some Zed Run. Zed Run is back, folks. Not dead. That old project. You know what Zed Run I'm talking about. Racing some horses.
Friend Tech 2, maybe? I saw something about that. Are we cycling back on all these old favorites? What's going on?
Hopefully we're cycling forward. Hopefully we're getting to a bull market every single day. Just one step further. We are surviving just like you guys. But again, thank you for tuning in. If you like the content, if you like us up here, please leave us a like. We appreciate it very much. If you're listening on Twitch, if you're listening on Twitter, you know what to do. Make sure you get to supporting those posts as well. Gif, you just had a fantastic, just one of the most on track, just on pace. I mean, the pacing was just immaculate. The topics, everything was just top tier on the X Spaces there, the GM Web3 morning show. How'd you do?
Yeah, well, as usual, it's a well-oiled machine we got over there. The ship was just running smooth as can be, clear waters as far as I could see. And everybody that participated in today's episode was just on point. It's moving in lockstep together. So yeah, it was a great example of what GM Web3 can and should be. Shout out to all y'all who keep showing up and participating in the calamity that is a morning show. Look, when you hit live, when you go live and you're streaming live, you don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea day to day. Sometimes everybody's on the same page. Sometimes this morning happens, and you got to just go with the flow. So today I took a back seat a little bit and just let other people talk about whatever the heck they want. Like, why are we here? Great question.
Existential question that we all need answers to.
Out of the gate, first thing in the morning, not even caffeinated. Why are we here? Yeah,
That mixed with why hasn't Pudgy Penguins floor moved from the announcement from Luca Nets that they are actually making 10 mil on the year. More importantly than why do we exist on this planet. Meta Builder's asking an interesting question as well, Giv. What positive impact are they having on society? I need to. Who are we talking about? You talking about me and Gif? We talking about Pudgy Penguins, Luca Nets, Rafik?
More specific.
We haven't got to that yet. Wins of Yawanawa also. I need to make sure I'm getting that right. Wins of Yawanawa. That is the first time I actually got it wrong. I've been up here saying it right the whole time. So Wins of Yawanawa is up over 10 ETH still. I think it's like 10.5. And Biggie is, again, just schooling me and Gif on the art alpha, but also
Biggie's on his yacht today.
Making sure that he should call in, that the rule of two. This is not financial advice, folks. We are not financial advisors. You know the spiel. Do not take what we say up here and do anything with it from an investment side. But the rule of two, if you're interested in something in the NFT space, you could potentially, when it's at mint price or something like that, you want to buy two. Again, not financial advice, because you want to keep. If
you have conviction, in something,
don't buy something that you don't have conviction in. Come on now.
Yeah. I've bought plenty of things that I didn't have conviction in.
There's a range of conviction. All right, here is today's episode. I'm going to drop that in chat. If you guys could go over there onto X, formerly Twitter, and give that a like or some type of reply. We already seen. I think Nox Darkness is cooking up a storm over there. So we see you, man. Big shout out to you for supporting the channel as we grow each day. But we do have some other topics to hit on. We have, again, wins of Yawanawa. We have base going down. So base protocol from Coinbase actually stopped producing blocks for, I need to make sure I'm getting that timeline correct, for a little while. 1 second is too long. Heavy Metal Forge is going live tomorrow. We touched on that yesterday with my forging currently in season 3 being not ongoing. So actually it might be season 4 now. So we do have the raid going live tomorrow. We're going to hop in and do a little bit of research there. I would again suggest that if you're interested in this stuff or seeing what's happening with Forge, Other Space FM, they do it every Thursday. I think it might be 1 p.m. Eastern. But those guys are awesome. They're, tuned in, and that's literally what they're doing every single day. It's just hopping in to the Yuga ecosystem there. Gif, you had a tweet that you wanted to start off with, a palate cleanser, if you will. What do you think we need to do here? What's happening?
Miyazaki is what's happening. So, one of the most famous anime studios, Studio Ghibli, has just released a new trailer that I caught. And, we like to cover pop culture, especially art and design, as much as the next guy. It's part of what we do here on the Web3 Network. So as far as just something nice to look at, and because we are, of course, trailer maxis, I felt like it could be a nice palate cleanser to enjoy some beautiful anime from an upcoming film from Studio Ghibli.
All right, we love trailers. We're going to play you one early. Let's do it. Yo, give me a TLDR. I'm breaking this up so we don't get banned from YouTube. TLDR, 5 seconds, go.
TLDR is, this is probably going to be one of the most anticipated anime films in a while because of the director, the creator, and the studio. Very famous anime style. And I believe it's called The Heron and the Boy. We already saw a heron. We saw a boy. And yeah, I don't know. This is my first time watching it too.
DP saying if these projects released products like they release trailers, they'd be dangerous. I don't even think this has a Web3 component. I think we're just getting a little palate cleanse here.
Yeah, this is not Web3. Well, it's art. The Boy and the Heron. There you go.
Okay. Oh, I saw a little hair in there at the end, but yeah. In theaters nationwide in December. Okay. Appreciate that, gift. Thanks for the palate cleanser early in the episode. I do have some other non-trailers, but some videos that I want to get to here, specifically regarding Luca and Pudgy Penguins here, which is going to be the main topic for the day. Gift, do you see any comments that you want to hit before we get to that? I know that I look like a fake-ass Jorge Masvidal. At least the poll says that. The poll's asking y'all. You might think that Prodigy's actually running our polls. He's not. But that poll is live. Nox Darkness, Easy and Crypto, Prodigy, Meta Builders. Let's see, DP. Who else is in here? Good to see you guys here early. Appreciate it. We just went live. We're going to cover a good amount of topics today. So the main one that I wanted to hit, GIF, is going to be Luca's speech here. I believe he's in Seoul or Seoul, Korea right now for the blockchain week over there. And let's see what he had to say, because I haven't looked at this in total. So let's look at it.
I made a tweet about this. I put it in my drafts, but maybe you guys will see it sometime soon. You can copy every tactic that we do. You can copy our social strategy, our product strategy. You can spew the same vision that I'm spewing. But at the end of the day, our character is just better. I had some really important meetings before I came to Korea and Japan. And everybody that we showed the Pudgy Penguin to freaked out. And they do this thing in Tokyo called kawaii. And they all would just say that when we showed them the Pudgy Penguin. And that's our edge. We just have a better character. We have a character that makes sense in Asia. We have a character that makes sense in Europe. We have a character that makes sense in America. And if you look at all the other NFT projects, which ones can you really say that about? it's always segmented to a certain culture, and I think Pudgy Penguins is the most universal IP in the entire NFT and Web3 space, and I think every data point supports that thesis.
All right, so he clearly didn't say, "Hey, we have 10 mil." That came later in that discussion. But you know, this story basically broke on X, saying that Luca, over the last 7 months, that they have pulled in, I believe, 10 mil, or are on track to do so at the end of this year by 2023, full year, 10 million.
I think it's a projection.
Yeah, for the end of the year as well. So what they already pulled in, and in that projection, there's a lot to unpack in there too. I think at least a couple topics that he touched on. Is Pudgy Penguins the most like relatable IP in the entire NFT space? I think he said they were. And there's a couple others. What was the last comment he had? Again, this is Luca in Seoul for Korea Blockchain Week.
Relatable is an interesting word. I think there's a case for, yes, there's relatability, translatability of, you know, cute creatures, cute animals, I think does have global allure when it's done well. And Pudgy Penguins just happens to be an early project that was, you know, good enough art and hit that really sort of cutesy, sweet spot that a lot of people around the world really love. You know, it's family friendly and it's super cute. I think that there's other projects that are just as relatable or interesting that didn't get the initial pickup, that just don't have the leadership, etc. But Pudgy is definitely a leader now. And yeah, there's not that many other Web3 native brands or IP that are hitting that especially well. VeeFriends is going the same direction. You know what I mean? Like there are other family friendly. We've talked recently about other projects that are trying to like focus in on this younger toy market, etc. But yeah, I think he's feeling confident, and he has reason to feel confident, and he's obviously getting a lot of positive feedback as he's going around the world and pitching and selling this to different, you know, partners and companies. And that's great. We need more confident leaders. This is honestly, you know, compare this to what Frank has been doing. Luca has a very, very clear vision and strategy, and he's super confident in his own leadership, and he is out there executing on it in a clear plan. Frank, to me, is still very much struggling to figure out what is the DeGod's vision and have confidence behind what they are, what they mean, who they matter to, etc. And I think most founders are in that bucket. Most founders are in the Frank bucket, trying to figure out where's the business model, where's the market for this, what is the vision, where do we go, and what's the product. Pudgy Penguins just is way ahead. You know, it's like there's like Yuga Labs, Pudgy Penguins, Doodles, maybe Moonbirds, and Proof. Maybe now DeadFellaz. I'm excited. You know, I did share in the chat. You were asking other stories.
Yep.
Maybe DeadFellaz might actually be jumping ahead into that same sort of next tier of projects that have a clear vision and maybe some real products coming out now. But there's, other than those, maybe Oniforce. You know, other than those, how many projects have any sort of clear vision and product? It's very few right now.
Yeah, we're going to stay in this discussion for a moment longer because there's a lot to unpack here. I think meta builders, you're asking a ton of good questions, but really we see a product now in NFTs and with NFT IP that is actually building a business, building cash flow. Like, this is something that's not going to be a one-off. They can obviously produce toys into the future. There's all these different features that go along with that, but simply put, they're making $10 million in 7 months, and they're on track to do so. So I want to make sure that I get this wording right. This is from Hunter Solaire. According to Luca, Pudgy Penguins is on track to sell $10 million of toys in our first 7 months, not by staking for tokens, not from selling you more NFTs, not by promising you a metaverse, but by selling products to fans of the IP. 2 months ago, that number was supposed to be $7 million. Now their plan is to ship 3 important releases for holders: Project Overpass to streamline the holder licensing process, Platform to make it easy to quantify the influence of every Pudgy, and one of the biggest announcements in the history of Web3. So clearly leaning in a little bit to the mysteriousness and the announcement of an announcement there that we love in Web3. But we have a product that is now making money and a business that's making money. How do they, one, Meta Builder is asking, how do they influence, I think, society, or how do they, benefit society? I think that's a larger question. How does it benefit people who got in early and are supporters of Pudgy Penguins through the NFT? The floor price has not moved an inch since this announcement. It is sitting like at, kind of crabbing out between 1 and 2%. You would think that this announcement that, hey, we're generating a ton of money here, we're generating cash flow, how does that impact floor price? It doesn't, at least on the very, very short term. Maybe this is a lagging kind of indicator here, floor price, that the whole world doesn't know. Maybe Asia doesn't know yet that this is existing, although this happened in Seoul, so you think they would know. A ton of breakdown here. What do you think?
I think floor price is a lagging indicator, especially because of the market that we're in. Like, how many times do we have to sit here and talk about that there's no liquidity? But yet there are still people buying these. Like, you can just see in the last couple hours, like just in the last 24 hours. Let's see. Last 24 hours. I mean, how many is that? There's like 25, 30 sales of this expensive asset in the last 24 hours. And it's been out for how long? All time. Came out in July 2021. These are expensive assets to be trading right now in this market. So if you don't think that, like, and like, I also, that's spike there looks around July, pretty recent, July, August of this month, of people buying over 10 ETH of these. Like, these are all indicators to me and leading indicators of the potential for this project to absolutely take off when there's more money in the market. And we talk endlessly about bear markets for building. That's what he's doing. He's building so that when shit turns around and there's liquid, where are you going to put your money? When everybody comes in with new money, where is it going to go? When there's only 10 projects to like really bet on that are doing good shit.
So to be fair, this happened with Solana as well. I'm telling you, back in 2017, 16 timeframe, any little announcement moved the market. There was just that low amount of liquidity that when you would hear about some bank or some exchange in Korea getting, having a run-in with the police, or they're like breaking down the headquarters or something, it would send Ethereum tanking 20%. Like, that's the moves that you were having to deal with on the daily. And now what you see is, one, we have way more liquidity, but in a bear market, this is not moving anything. Solana came out and said, hey, by the way, we have stablecoin integration with USDC. Hey, by the way, Visa, one of the biggest payment processors in the world, is building on us. Solana's barely even moved. Solana's down on the 24 hours, 5%. And it's down on the 7-day as well. So some of that, I think you're right. In the bull market, this would send it probably skyrocketing in at least percentage. I don't know what that looks like from a price perspective, but yeah. Meta Builder saying, I can agree with that. They have a great marketing team. They definitely didn't invent anything new.
Yeah, but you don't have to. Why do you like? They actually are, kind of, because they're going to be one of the first Web3 toy companies, Web3 native toy brands ever created. So like, they did kind of invent some things new, but you don't have to always reinvent everything new all the time. I don't know what this face is that you're reacting to.
Apparently some people put up a fight for me, but the poll, does Q look like a fake ass Jorge Masvidal? 62% of you said yes.
You know what? Sometimes you just got to go where the people are going to take you, as we learned this morning on GM Web3. Don't feel bad, Q. Some days you wake up and not everybody's on your side, and we keep doing it anyway.
Just up here getting.
You're a good looking man, Q.
Trying to provide value. Anyways, Asmodai saying regional time of day to you all. Asmodai has now played both me and Gifted in Prime, by the way. And we have been talking a bunch about Prime overnight. Echelon Prime, the token for that ecosystem, like rocketed up. It was like up 25%. I was like cursing my luck. And now it has retraced. So I don't know what this move from 342 all the way up to 405 was, but it has retraced a little bit in that time. It is up 5% on the day. Not financial advice. I need liquidity to put money into Echelon Prime. I am extremely bullish, and we are both extremely bullish on the game. There's an element of parallel as well that fits into this Pudgy conversation. Gif, I want to bring this back a little bit. How does this affect, and how can it affect, if you were maybe Luca or the team, how can this positively affect floor price or the holders long-term, short-term, when they're bringing in this amount of money?
Could you imagine what it would be worth to own one of like the original 10,000 Hello Kitties today?
Yeah.
That's it to me. So like there's going to be, when you have an established business with cash flow, there's a million other opportunities to create value. So like there's different buckets here. If we're just talking about NFT floor price, like just floor price by itself, which I think is kind of stupid because you're missing the bigger cultural value and community and club value that you're in, and all the different other parts of the things that they can provide to you. If we're just going to fixate on floor price itself, I think that it's not just a short-term flip, but over the next, let's say 3 to 5 years, and then even beyond that to 10 years. I mean, if this does go on to be a globally recognized character, which that's the vision that he's actively working on right now and seeing already tremendous success with. Think about it in terms of being one of those cutesy famous characters like a Hello Kitty. People spend thousands of dollars on Hello Kitty merch. You could literally be one of the original
just from a
owners
collecting standpoint
of this IP. So just on the floor price, like, like everybody just wants to see like, where's the floor today? Nobody wants to separate yourself out a couple years. I get it. We're all fucking impatient. I get it. But
a lot of people came into this space when something as small as like a little announcement would move the floor. Like fuck it, mutants.
That all changes.
Like
that all changes in the market, right?
Of course.
So I just think that when the market changes and over the next couple of years, I think the floor price could fucking 5x on these. I really do. If you look at something like where Bored Apes is at right now, I feel like Pudgy Penguins could easily be where Bored Apes is at in a bear market, in a bull market.
Okay.
So anyway, that's floor price. But then again, there's so many other things that are opened up to you as far as providing value back to your collectors, your club, your community, your hardcore fans, when you have a legit established global enterprise that has cash flow. So whether that's different types of like staking and games and products, or experiences and parties, or partnerships and different types of like other things, there's going to be a lot that you can get. So anyway, I'm very bullish. I'll stop talking about it now.
What's funny about this combo is that a lot of people immediately go to, why do we keep talking about floor price like that? It's almost like, again, it's a bear market. I get it. Like there's not a lot of positive momentum in floor prices, but even when we talk about something like Winds of Yawanawa or why am I just screwing that name up today? Winds of Yawanawa is up over 10 ETH. It's a fun story. People are making a bag on it. That's awesome. But the art is 100% what we should be focused on as well, or at least a good percentage of that. But I want to break down and read between the lines of what people are talking about with floor price, because we had this question come up of why do we keep fixating on it? It's because, in my opinion, one of the main use cases for NFTs is shared value. In something that I'm interacting with every day, in an IP that I like, in a game that I'm playing, such as League of Legends, in I don't know. I haven't been an art collector for a long time, but I guess that's how the art market worked, right? Like you want to support an artist early on. Hopefully, you get shared value in the end. Anyways, this floor price is a representation of shared value on the internet when we never used to be able to do these things. You're spending all your time on Facebook, you get nothing. You spend all your time on Instagram, you get nothing. You spend all your time on League, you get nothing. That this digital environment has never had the ability to share value truly, right? So that's what we're talking about with floor price. How can the early and most enthusiastic Pudgy Penguins holders, the ones that are spending all their fucking day in Discord with IP, spreading the good word, how does that work with shared value that Web3 really does provide in a digital environment?
I think so. This is can be a whole long-winded conversation where we could set up hours just trying to talk about like specific tactics and mechanics that creators, founders, devs can deploy to try and incentivize or reward their collectors. So I don't know how much time you want to spend on this, but I will say one of the things that I'm realizing through specifically playing Parallel and getting into this that I think translates into a lot of other NFT communities and projects very well is it's sort of like a growth hacking idea, but also a reward idea.
Kickstarter.
Where the existing users and fans, the ones that are active in the community, that get in early, that are participating, investing, they become the entryway to all the new people. And this, you could, if you skewed this a certain way or did it incorrectly, this turns into an MLM, which isn't great. You don't want to go that way. But what you do want to do, and what I think is really powerful, is when the people that are in there early, they're able to onboard their friends through cool ways, like create the second edition NFTs that they can then share. Like kind of the ethos behind the Heart plus Craft, project from Jordan Weil and Snowfro, where you get in early, you can share these with your friends. And then what does that create? I think that there's going to be a lot of interesting mechanics that can reward people for bringing their friends in, or giving them opportunities to share out and grow the community and be that touch point for other people. And that's like cultural relevance and clout, besides the fact that like, if you are, the original Hello Kitty's owner, I'm using that as like a placeholder for what Pudgy Penguins could become as a famous IP. You're the original Pudgy Penguins holder. You can show that off. Like the cultural import of that in 5 years could be massive when our digital identities become the focus of everything in the world, and you can authenticate in your PFP on all these platforms. When people see you, it's your brand, your identity, you are tied in as part of this club and an owner. I don't know, man. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I want to stay here for 2 more minutes. I love seeing the comments coming through. Cam Taylor saying what Luca is going for is great for the space, but to always bring the conversation back to floor prices creates so many problems. But this will always be the case with PvP gambling, speculation on NFTs. I agree with that. I think more so than any other project with what they're doing with physical product, they've been able to, I think, move that discussion into creating memes and creating obviously these physical toys. So I think there is an element that Luca and the team is pushing against. I really love this quote too. At some point, you have to ask yourself, are you here to give from the space or to take from the space? I know which side I'm on. We sit up here waxing poetic about why these people come into the space and just extract. You see a true founder here, and again, I don't want to be a kingmaker here. We love kingmakers. This is the Wild West. We love making another Billy the Kid. We love making another Bonnie and Clyde. Like that's literally what this space is and what this ethos is. I'm not trying to do that with Luca, but if he can provide value back, which I think is the question now, right? And I'll just wrap up with this. There's so many different ways you can go about this. I've heard people talk about buybacks of NFTs. Like they could take a 500K and buy back some of the Pudgy Penguins market. The thing about that is there's so many different aspects of an NFT, right? Like if you buy 1,000 of the main Pudgy Penguins, now it's going to be harder for folks to get in to the original collection. Maybe you want that. That's fine. It's also very hard when it comes to getting new people in. When you take 1,000 Pudgy Penguins and you remove them from supply, like that's 1,000 folks that you can't have in your community. So just I'll wrap it up here. There is a dynamic, I think, to this combo of saying, okay, they've done it. They made some money. Love it. Not a lot of projects have done it. What do they do now? How can they provide value back to the original holders? Or do they have to do anything? Clearly, Luca thinks he's going to do something.
The whole buybacks thing is a conundrum. I've never been a fan of that idea for the reasons that you just outlined, Q, because I don't think that it actually helps grow the project long term. I think it's a short-term solution to a floor price question, which again, we're too fixated on floor prices in general, which we've said in the same breath here. While I get why people think that it's great because it pumps their bags and pumps the floor price, I ultimately don't think it's healthy for the community and the project and the IP to be doing that. So I hope that that doesn't become a big focus. I also understand why like stock buybacks and things are popular. So it's like it's a very big question around the buybacks and floor sweeping. I don't think that that's how you actually grow a brand, grow IP. I think you have to create demand. So to me, it should all be focused on products, marketing, branding, partnerships, and things that actually create demand for this IP, for this product. That's what I think he should keep doing, which he's been doing. Keep investing in building the brand, the product, and more products, and marketing the hell out of it, making it awesome, creating more touch points that are great experiences for people to fall in love with the Pudgy Penguins and create meaning. That's what I think he should do. It's all very expensive and not easy to do. But yeah, all the things like with buybacks are just such short-term. Like you don't want to do the work to actually create a cool product or a brand. So just spend all that money on fucking buying back your shit.
Yeah.
Reduce the unique holders. Don't create any fucking demand, and then make it extremely hard for more people to get in, and then redistribute all that. Like, what do you?
It's interesting though, because and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, and we should move on. But if you do a buyback, there is a potential to create even more fervent supporters, right? If Pudgy goes from like say that's the moment, right? They're doing an NFT buyback. Say, let's wave a magic wand and say regulation doesn't matter. We do a buyback, Pudgy Penguins floor 10x's in this hypothetical world. Now you have a Bored Ape situation. Now you have that Pudgy Penguins community is filled with cash that they're probably going to spend more money on things in that ecosystem. They're going to be creating different products based on Pudgy Penguins. So that's my devil's advocate approach, is saying even small little tweaks like that, where you're just like turning on a faucet or you're turning on a buyback, could potentially be the thing. You know, like I'll give you an example. Like just dropping mutants was gigantic for the future of Bored Ape Yacht Club when they did it. You can't even like I think quantify it. Like it literally took Bored Ape to the stratosphere. It also gave other people a chance to get in at lower prices. So now people are all there. So on the buyback front, and I'll wrap this whole thing up. But Gif, I want you to respond there because it looked like you were. You can't do the buyback in the same way, because when a company like Apple does a buyback, they're essentially saying the same thing. We're providing value back to people who are invested in our product. That doesn't exist in NFTs, because what happens is you can't buy at least yet, or at least at scale, fractional pieces of NFTs. You can, I get it, but people can buy 50 cents or $10 worth of Apple stock. You can't necessarily do that with an NFT as easily. It's not as commonplace. So what Parallel's doing, where you can buy the edition and then you get the common, I don't want to dive into that rabbit hole, but I think that's a good situation for here. Let's benefit early holders.
The thing is, stocks are actually securities. And that's what's so
Sure.
fucked up about this whole conversation and fixating on like buying back to pump fucking floors and manipulating the market in that way on a quest to endlessly drive more value for your shareholders. These aren't investors. We can't be talking about them like, we shouldn't be talking about this shit like this at all. We should be talking about just fucking collectibles. And honestly, this convo, like the more that we're digging into it, is becoming more and more confusing and problematic to me, because it doesn't, like, we're confusing the investment language with stocks with fucking NFTs in ways that like we shouldn't. We really shouldn't be thinking about them like this at all.
Yeah, I don't really like the idea that I think that goes along with the thought process that this NFT can't be a lot of things at once.
I think it can, but right now, like, we are treating these things like securities that are definitionally not securities or should not be. And if they are, then we're fucked.
Yeah.
So like, the one thing I'll say though, if we are going to keep going down that rabbit hole of like trying to compare, like, how do you do it? I think the only way that buybacks could make sense is if you have a legit company, just like a stock usually is attached. You used Apple as an example, which is a wild comparison, but okay. Apple is creating billions of dollars of revenue every single year. So they have a cash cow. They have multiple cash cows, so they can keep generating more value and redistributing that stock in different ways and buying it back. And okay, but if you don't have a legitimate business with cash flow and you buy it back, then yeah, what are you going to do? You spend $5 million buying back your own assets, and then you just give them away to free or do marketing with them, and then
that's
what?
The rabbit hole. I think
you have to have more cash flow to keep sustaining something like that. So until there's legitimate businesses attached to these NFTs backing them up, the buybacks are broken. It doesn't work at all.
That's why this situation with Pudgies is so interesting, because we are at that point where, and you could make the case that Bored Ape was already in this position, but I think outside of digital assets, they're doing a real brick and mortar business with IRL physicals, and they're making a fuck ton of money, you know. And we'll see how much they actually made. We don't know how much of this is profit, right? So we will see. So all right, Meta Builders, Cam Taylor, both getting involved. G Benjamin, good to see you. Prodigy saying, can we have Dookie Dash back just to play when in queue for League of Legends games? Maybe that's a good little piece of segue here. Asmodai saying, future announcements, give dead action figure top not included. Hazy, maybe it's bullish that the floor price doesn't reflect it yet. No hype, no speculation, building a foundation of convinced holders. Penguins might even run harder in the future if they start.
Absolutely.
Running. So,
well said too. And I wanted to look. Yeah, there's 2% or less listed, right? Again, the capability for a lot of these bigger projects when liquidity eventually comes back in to run is going to be insane.
It's going to be wild.
You definitely, it's going to be,
you're drinking a bullish juice on that. Yeah.
It's going to be super powered by all these additional finance and DeFi products that we've seen developed, right? Again, we talk about that gas, but what are the projects that are going to get it? It's going to be those top 10 projects, top 20 projects that are integrated into things like Blend. Dude, they're going to fucking skyrocket when the speculation and the money is back in.
All right, I'm going to do a brief detour here into some other quick news. Thank you guys for joining NFT Live, by the way. If you are here and you like the content, if you appreciate myself, Nifty Q, and Gifted here every single day bringing you the NFT news, we'd appreciate it if you could support the channel through liking our content. We do a rehash also on our Web3 X profile that you guys can follow every single day. We got like 10 to 13 stories that we're pushing out on X for y'all. So I could probably pull that up as well. In the meantime, Gift, can you hit a comment while I do so?
Yeah, well, it looks like Meta Builders and Cam were both agreeing with that the whole convo around these things like securities is problematic. Meta Builders talking a lot about wax over here. SDP Owls apparently were an early project on wax from 2020 that apparently was also a legit business. I'm not familiar. I really wasn't ever into wax, so it's always interesting to learn a little bit more about that. Let's see. G Benjamin saying hi. What's up, G Benjamin? Great to have you here with us. And yeah, Asmodai, next time, better luck to you. I have to say, Asmodai and I went toe to toe in parallel, and it was one of the closest battles that I've had yet.
Were you playing Shroud?
we were down to the wire. I was playing Shroud, he was playing Ogden Core, and I ended up pulling it out. But it was back and forth, and I think I was down to like 5 health, 3 health. Managed to pull it around, but that was a great battle. So shout out Asmodai. And I've been looking into the Shroud cards that I need to collect for NFTs for my deck. Dude, the floor is like $500 on all these cards right now.
Yeah.
I really think that the tokenomics, the way that it's set up with the fact that like there's certain cards especially that you want to stack, you want to have multiples of them, and then you have to have the NFT versions to get boosts, does create demand within the game to try and earn some prime. And there's only, even if it's 60,000 or 1,000, if you're trying to get 2 or 3 of those to fill out your deck, I mean, how many collectors is that? A couple hundred that you need just to have demand for those, and they have utility out of the gate. So
yeah,
there's something to this parallel shit, man.
There is.
And not just that. I cannot overstate the importance that the art and the world and the lore is actually cool. It's actually fucking cool. Like when you go look at these cards and you're playing the game and a new one comes up and then you fucking click into it, you're like, holy shit, what is this thing? Dude, like there's 2 new Shroud cards that I didn't even know fucking exist. They got pulled on me and like kicked my fucking ass. And I'm like, holy shit, now I need these. How much are they? They're $1,000. And I'm like, what is going on? So
I have a quick anecdote.
It's a thing, man. It's a thing. I'm getting into it.
Yeah, I'm going to try. There is an avatar challenge going on right now, and I did win 25 games, so I'm going to make sure I can see that.
Hook me up, bro. Please.
So, okay, I'm going to link drop on y'all for just a second. There are obviously some reasons for doing so. I'm not just kind of waxing poetic up here again. I did pretty much have a channel here that I am streaming these games from like a daily perspective. So Midnight Heist from Captain Kicks is going live today. I'm going to be streaming either on the mothership, this network here that you're sitting on, or this channel. So I'll drop it in the chat for you guys to go and sub. I'll either be again on the mothership or this channel whenever I'm streaming these games. I did get into Parallel here over the like yesterday. We have obviously been jumping in like Gif was saying. This is an interesting, piece, and it's a tie-in to the combo that we're having to start the episode. These are called echoes. These are when this game hopefully gets mass adopted, this will be essentially the card concepts that people will be mostly playing with. So echoes, I believe, are very, very cheap versions of major cards. So the first edition and the second edition, they will only ever exist in a certain amount of supply. Those can be replicated to create echoes. So me and Gif aren't by any means like professionals at this yet. We are not experts in Parallel. We are just diving down the rabbit hole. But this echo concept is a good way to reward people that want to get involved and share that value. But 2, it's an interesting dynamic to distribute that.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of what got me on this tangent of like thinking about one of the coolest ways to reward existing, evangelists, your community, is to make them the touch points to getting in. You give them the clout, the cultural relevance within the world, the community, of being able to provide opportunities and create the next versions of these things, because you have to have the existing cards and be participating to create the echoes and the second editions and things like this, and then those become the entry points to other people. So yeah, it's really cool. And honestly, like, when we were talking to Mr. Gon, one of the founders of Parallel, yesterday, and he brought up Magic, I now see it. Like, this is like a futuristic Magic, the Gathering. Absolutely. Yes. Like, it really feels like that. The quality of the art is there.
What's really funny? He mentioned, without any prompting, one of the things that when we were sitting down just DMing each other about Parallel, you were saying is going to be a problem, right? It's a trading card game. Those aren't the most popular. I think you were the one that quoted like, the Valorant guys are getting all the chicks and the TCG guys aren't getting much of anything. And what he mentioned was, I want to create a game that's really interactive. He knows, right, that it's not as fun as maybe a League of Legends where you're clicking all the time, Rocket League, where literally from minute or second one to the end, you're engaged.
Action packed.
So he's doing some things. I thought it was cool that he actually brought that up unprompted, because that was the concern. You were like, hey, Parallel might not ever take off because of this.
It's yeah. Let me hit it in the way that I was trying to explain it. It comes down to replayability, right? It's the stickiness and how novel and unique and exciting is the game the third time, the fifth time, the 10th, or the 100th time that you've played it. How do you maintain the excitement when it's basically just a turn-based tabletop card game? It's just not the same dynamic and exciting experience every time that you play like something like a Rocket League, where it's like you've got these extreme highs and lows of like getting scored on in the last 5 seconds, going down into overtime, crazy highlight goals, all this type of shit. It's like sometimes you get a crazy comeback, you know, like you're down, but more often than not, it's like if you don't get ahead early in the game, you're kind of screwed. And it's just like a downward spiral for the rest of it. It doesn't have these extreme highlights as much. It doesn't have those key moments as much. How do you maintain the interest long term and not just have people cycle in and out and have that turnover rate be really high? How do you maintain people in the game wanting to continue to play? And so, yeah, you're right. He started to get into how they're thinking about that. Obviously, seasons, different types of expansions are going to be all part of that. How does the digital video game nature of this and the lore and the tokenomics factor into all of that? Look, Axie Infinity and like other just sort of financialized DeFi protocols that have games slapped on top kind of struggle from the same thing that a lot of trading card games have, right? It's that the game itself doesn't necessarily warrant replays other than you're in it for some kind of reward, right? So it's like you've got
League is the same game it was 10 years ago.
I've looked at
the graphics have gotten a lot better, just like anything else. The gameplay that I remember is
champions are like way different and upgraded.
The
meta is shifting. Dude, I've seen the old versions of League.
I played it. I've been playing for 6 years. It's the same game, dude. Rocket League, you're just putting your car on a
well, but they also provide a lot of expansions, new skins, new characters, new buffs, new nerfs. The metas keep changing, and they have the esports value of that creates a level of excitement as well, because you want to follow the athletes, see who's the best in the world at this new meta, who's mastering the new characters, and then all the different things that you spawn off of this. And they've been building out the IP in the world to keep you engaged as well, like Arcane. I don't even play League anymore, and Arcane really cool. is like one of the dopest.
That was one of the newest things they've done, for sure. So look, one of my favorite parts, but it's also paradoxically the hardest to get involved in, is the collection of the cards, right? That's a cool aspect. It's not necessarily the gameplay, but like it brings me back to Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't think I ever had this experience with Hearthstone, which I think is some alpha, honestly. Like I didn't go into Hearthstone being like, ooh, like this is awesome for whatever reason. But in Magic, in Yu-Gi-Oh! And now Parallel, I do have that feeling. Although it's hard to get involved in how many cards. There's 4,000 cards or something like that. So like there's a ton. There's like 1,000 different cards, at least when it comes to the additions and all that stuff. So understanding that is tough. I did want to share, moving on from Parallel real quick, GIF. Here is the rehash from yesterday. This is an example. GIF did a really great job. We're curating these stories every day. We're bringing it to you on NFT Live, but we don't get to hit a lot of them, and some of them happen after we're live, all that different stuff. So you can see 13 different stories here with some commentary that keeps you up to date every day. That comes from Web3X profile here. So great job on this yesterday, GIF. Appreciate, and it got some traction too, which is good to see. I feel like since we're talking about trading card games, we have to hit the That's what I'm into next. So I just dropped the Web3 piece there, folks, and we are on to DeadFellaz. What's happening?
I'm doing finger guns at our awesome friends in the comments. All right, look, trading card games, really are maybe the
TCG season.
it makes sense. It's a collectible, art-driven style of game. It's kind of the perfect match for NFTs. And DeadFellaz apparently also coming to market with some kind of trading card experience. And I think I've got 5 or 6. Full transparency. We're always transparent. I got 5 or 6 DeadFellaz. It's been one of my biggest conviction plays. People that are, long-time listeners or that join us probably hear me talk about DeadFellaz almost every show and are probably tired of it. But this is why, because they have a legit team, a legit vision, great art, great IP. They've been executing, continuing to build. And this is a surprise. I didn't know that they were doing a trading card game, but it says like September 8th, I think, is when they're launching some of the initial, it does look like there's probably going to be mint details. Like they're going to, I think, trying to raise some more funds off of it.
I want to know, what was Betty leaking some of this stuff? Because this is the part of Web3 that's interesting. Again, we're back to floor price, but we're going into DeadFellaz. 30 days, and there was interesting buying situations happening on the 22nd. I would love to go back and figure out what is happening here, because we've seen a majority of the response, again, not be right after the news drop, but about 2 weeks prior. So maybe she dropped a little bit of alpha in a space or something. Maybe it's an announcement play. So
probably, or maybe it just hit low enough that a bunch of buys, offers got triggered. That's also how these platforms work. I was buying when they were hitting around 0.25 or whatever, and then they kept dropping from there. So I'm sure that people have been watching these, waiting for them to enter a buy zone. But yeah, RIP TCG, I guess that's the working title. I don't think they've even announced the name of the game yet. They're just kind of teasing it with this RIP TCG. They call it Fast, Violent, and Cinematic, which sounds really cool. I don't know what that means, but I also saw 3D somewhere. So yeah, there's a 3D up there. Play to earn, is that a P to E?
P to E, yep.
Oh wow, play to earn as well. So some kind of tokenomics and incentives for participating as well. So yeah, it might be trading card season, and again, it actually makes total sense for NFTs. I think, as far as if you're going to launch some kind of game experience and do it well, not just like a shitty reskin of a little mobile game or something that's not actually going to keep anybody interested.
All right, so some details here, GIF, as well. Vaults are going to be essentially the packs. So a vault is a A vault is a box of 9 cases. Each of the 9 cases contains 10 packs. Each of the 10 packs contain 5 cards. The total amount of cards when all packs within the vault are ripped is a massive 450 random first edition card for use upon game release. Okay,
is that 50 cards in a box or a vault? Sorry, 50 cards in a vault, right? Or wait, no.
90?
50 cards in a case. 90. 50 times 9 is in a vault. So 450. Yeah, 450. So 450 random first cards in a vault.
Each vault also includes 1 random ultra rare card for use upon game release. Okay. This has a collector's aspect to it as well, like any other trading card game. Here's where, if we're going to talk trading card season, right? Like even me spending what I spent on the parallels, there was something in the back of my mind that said, listen, for this to be successful, it's going to be a huge undertaking to create a game that is that has longevity, that is seen as being worth it to have people come in and collect these things, because this is really cool. You have the chance to buy a bunch of first editions, 1 ultra rare collectible, but the chance that that's actually going to be valuable long term as a collectible, that's the question. Not all of these gaming plays or these trading card games are going to be surviving long term and going to win. So that's the tough part, because immediately I'm like, oh, I want to jump in. This is a great opportunity, in the same way that Parallel works, to get in on some rare cards that I could collect. And there's Parallel's done some physicals for some of this as well. So all right, anyways, for each DeadFellaz you own, you can purchase 1 vault at $13. Wow. Okay, so DeadFellaz are getting a pretty heavy discount if 75 USD for any of the 100 additional vaults. For each Dead Friends you own, it's 13 USD, so no difference between the OG collection. Legacy wallets that minted DeadFellaz or Dead Friends do not still need to be holding, can mint it for 50. Alphas, you can purchase up to 100 vaults for free. I don't need to check in on that.
I have no idea what an alpha is, but that's pretty legit.
So DeadFellaz is getting a 90% discount almost here.
Yeah, and I'll definitely get at least like a couple, 2 or 3 vaults because I can, because I got some fellas. Just to check it out and play and see what's going on. I didn't really expect DeadFellaz necessarily to be a gaming brand, but again, for a trading card game, like I can see it. And they've been building into the sort of digital identity, 3D identity, the streaming fellas, different types of things like that. And it'll be a very different type of experience, I think, than Parallel. Incoming NFT project pivot to gaming project for many. Bullish for those that have been building in that direction for the last year plus. Yeah, it makes sense.
Says, why are the early Spider-Man comics valuable? Years and years of what they build afterwards. We need to adjust expectations. I agree. Also, there's a ton of comics that never took off. That's the only part I'm talking about. There's a ton of IP in comic books. Most fail. That's kind of what I'm saying here.
Silver Surfer still gets a cameo or a reference in a lot of different things. All right.
So DeadFellaz getting a 90% discount. A vault contains an ultra rare card. You could probably, depending on the success of the game, you're talking about ultra rare. You could potentially just make your money back in that. And have the rest of the cards. But anyways, Fisker Karma says, I like gods a lot. Been playing it for a year plus. Showed my use case for play to earn, and I was finally satisfied within crypto.
Yeah, I was playing Gods Unchained for a little while early on. It again, the replayability of that didn't keep me in it very long. I started to feel like I don't know. I started to feel like I was just grinding into something that I didn't really understand, but like it has been pretty successful. Like we've been covering, top projects and markets across chains, and Gods has been consistently showing up. And so there is still volume, and it is a legit game. One of the earliest Web3 games that continues to be there, and it's a trading card game. So that's cool that you like it. Parallel is the one that's grabbing me in a little bit more and getting me to like actually invest.
Well, it's so deep. It's deep compared to what they're doing. It's deep compared to what DeadFellaz is just getting started.
What I would say is if you like Gods Unchained, you'll probably like Parallel. Like,
oh, I see. Between Gods and okay, got it. Yeah, I played Gods as well early on. It was one of the only games that had an NFT component that was playable. So, don't get me wrong. I like that. I think the usability wasn't to par, but that has to do a lot with when it was created. I think it was like 2019, maybe even. I would need to look at that date. Anyways, GIF, last thoughts. DeadFellaz TCGs. It looks like VGF does have a good point. That the dilution, 13.5 million potential cards hitting on this sale. That's if it sells out, but that's a ton of cards.
The supply and the scarcity question, and then the demand against that's the trick. And again, this is what part of what's got me into Parallel is that I'm actually seeing some demand. Like we just talked about Prime being up 20%. Look, I have no idea how this DeadFellaz thing is going to go, and you're raising a really big concern. That's why I'm not going to like go all in on it. I'm going to test it out. I'll buy probably 2 or 3 vaults and play it a little bit and see if I like it. I hope that whatever they create is sticky and cool and fun enough that it does get traction. But Parallel to me is the one right now, because yes, there's a large amount of those NFTs too, but I think that the product and the demand is growing. Like I actually see how the tokenomics can work out because of the way that you use these cards in the game and why people are going to be collecting them to try and max out their NFTs and stack them. Like I understand that. I maybe DeadFellaz will do the same thing. And so having a couple million NFT cards won't be that many if there's enough people playing. I really don't know.
Short of building out a game, TCGs or like cards are a really interesting way to display NFT IP.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is in mass, right? Instead of creating a comic where like you're showing off 8 characters, you could potentially create some type of collectible. I'm not saying everything needs to be a trading card game, but trading cards or like collectibles are interesting. Yeah. Everyone trying to be a Magic card game now? Question mark.
Well, one thing that I wanted to pull up, and I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah. While GIF is doing that, parallel, we're diving in more and more. I did see Dodd. This is a top 100 player, right? So he's position 78, 1400 MMR on a 3-game win streak. I was asking what he was making, right? Like how much prime is he making? It looks like with only 1 key, I don't know what he's setting at 8%. That might be the distribution for this beta. I don't know if that's like how many cards he owns. Maybe 8% of his deck is, but he's getting 0.1 prime per win, which is 30 cents, which is about 10x what I'm getting. Maybe 8x what I'm getting right now.
Yeah,
with the full deck.
I'm not getting shit. I'm getting like 0.0001 or something right now, which is nothing. But look, the cards, Parallel Alpha, not the avatars right now, but all the cards have been trending on OpenSea for like the last 2 weeks, it feels like.
Yeah.
So, and the floor is rising. Like, I think that's actually quite a bit higher than it was a day or two, or a little bit higher than it was a day or two ago. So like, let's go last 30 days. Like, yeah, like you can see there's definitely demand and people are buying and trading these cards right now. Like a lot. So even though they're like, a lot of them are relatively cheap and inexpensive, like there's absolutely volume. Like, look at that. Almost 80,000 ETH in secondary volume stacking up on these cards already. And they're just in closed beta. Like
yeah. I'm super bullish. Yeah,
I'm feeling bullish about this, man, and I hope it actually proves out. I hope that a couple months from now we're still like looking at this like this is cool and this isn't just another fucking flash in the pan.
It's gonna break my heart to take the money that I had in an Alluvium token that went up to like, whatever it went up to. And I'm going to take all of my Alluvium tokens, I think, and transfer them into Prime. Because I could sit there and wait for an Alluvium pump whenever the bull market comes. But it just feels like the time, man. So I'm going to take that. That was a round trip, one of many, but who cares? Yeah. Anyways, we are getting to the end here. Asmodai is saying the current payout is only 8% of the final payout after beta. I don't know. Are they retroactively paying people? I don't know what that means. Full NFT deck is getting 0.01.
I think he means it probably changes what the payout is to a normalized higher payout. Okay. Like in close. So what I'm taking away from this, if I'm understanding what Asmodai is saying here, is that just during closed beta, they're not trying to. They're not trying to just give out all the tokens just to the first 500 people that are playing the game, which I wish they would kind of, but like they're probably just waiting till it's actually open before they ramp up the incentives more. They're just testing out the incentive structure, I think, right now. That's what I'm getting from it, which I get why you would do that, right? You don't want to blow your wad just during a beta test. You just want to make sure that the incentives are actually working properly. That's what a beta test is for. Because again, it's still just in closed beta.
Okay. We are going to wrap up the episode here in about 10 minutes. Marty McFly saying, did I miss the Yuga Labs part of the episode? No, of course not. So we do have the Forge going live tomorrow. That raid is going to be interesting to follow, and the sentiment around that. I think for the most part, the sentiment is at an all-time low with Forge right now. People are absolutely exhausted. I think one thing they should have done was actually implement like a week break. That would have given a lot of people a feeling of like, I'm not this exhausted. But so a lot of people are still playing. Hill Dobby is one of my favorite follows. I'm going to speed run through these quick news so that we can end on anything we want to end on. He put out this Dune dashboard on the amount of POAP holders. I don't want to use that, O-turn onboarding and mass adoption. Like I honestly, like, that's an important piece, but I don't want to say it too much per episode. 1.2 million POAP holders here. 77,000 collections. If you're wondering what the biggest collections on POAPs are, it's right here for you. 61,000 Mutant Ape Demise, New Gecko NFT, Z-Sync quizzes, V-Friends.
What do we do with this?
Serious. I think the reason I was bringing it up was because POAPs are another tool, just like what you saw with Reddit avatars. I think it's an underrated tool for bringing folks in to the industry. And you can clearly see that there are 1.2 million wallets with POAPs in them. That is a shit ton of holders. And again, it's not going to be 1.2 on the dot. It's probably like half of that number, but that's a ton of people holding POAP.
It is. I'm still waiting to figure out the real sort of utility or value with POAPs, because like I have a POAP. Yeah. But right now they're not integrated anywhere. Like I have a POAP, app, and I've been collecting them. I've probably got like 40 or 50, and it's cool, I guess. Like I'll go in there and there's a couple that I'm like, hey, that's pretty neat. I remember that thing. I have my little badge, but right now it's not integrated anywhere. It's in my POAP app.
Yeah.
Right now, because I haven't been going to a lot of events and conferences, I never open it.
Whether they can execute on what they should be implementing, there's a ton of reasons why badges and achievements are important.
I think there's some projects that have been able to use their POAPs as some kind of additional booster in a Discord or an access for an allow list. So I do think that there's ways to use them. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like they've been integrated enough to really matter as much as I'd like. You know what I mean? I don't. There was a while when we were creating POAPs for like an event room, like a space on Clubhouse, or like, just a get together with friends. We would create a POAP for that because everybody was super fucking amped up and excited. I'm just not that excited about POAPs anymore, because when am I going to use them or care or look at them again? Maybe once a year right now, or just if I go to a conference. So show me more use cases and integrations with POAPs, please, so that I can get on board with why this is interesting.
All right, the next piece of news here is going to be Friendtech's resurrection. So there were users and total value locked are obviously two different categories here, but new total value locked to all-time high for Friendtech's at 7.4 million. So
can I throw a grenade? Can I throw a grenade out of the gate here?
What's up?
Well, we know Paradigm's behind Friendtech. They were also behind Art Gobblers. So,
God.
Is this like legit new users actually transacting in a legit way? Or does that just straight upward line that we're seeing represent bot activity? Or just some kind of like...
So total value locked is not volume, right? That it's different than volume. So it can't be, it's not wash traded, but they could definitely fake it. I mean, they could put $2 million in.
Absolutely. Because we stopped talking about it for a week. So now how do they get us talking about it again? You put more money into it and now everybody's want to talk about it again. I don't know. Look, let us know in the comments. Are you using Friendtech? Have you opened that app in the last week? Have you bought anybody's keys? Are you actively excited about collecting people's keys on Friendtech? Or is there anything there right now that you're still bullish on? Do you think that they can compete with OF as some kind of decentralized OF? That was part of the thesis of like what they could do. But then the Ponzi-nomic aspect of it kind of fizzled as fast as it popped up. So let us know though. I want to know, maybe there's a bunch of people out there still using it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the sentiment that I've seen is people that weren't in the NFT space were starting to find out about it. That's at least, or starting to get their toes wet. Like I had multiple people in a couple different Discord messages that just 2 days ago were like, "Hey, can I get some keys?" So the interest, I don't think, has completely died out. Whether the total value locked number is fake, I don't know. All right, a couple different quick news pieces. Not going to add much commentary here, but base apparently was down. The information here, no blocks in 8 minutes. And you can see that on base scan, the ether scan of that protocol, that blocks were essentially not being created there. So obviously the protocol being down is not good. This is a problem with having all of your validators be a single entity. We already talked about that. People don't really care about decentralization. People care about use cases and cool things. So base is going to be okay from this long term, but it is crazy to see. Like, it's a sobering situation to have happen. We need to make sure that doesn't happen, because then a narrative can catch on, a la Solana.
True. Squashman making an interesting point, saying POAPs seemed to die out when the process of creating one became arduous. Also, after Ryan Carson's meltdown. I think that's probably pretty true. And yeah, the process did not get easier or better. It was always kind of arduous. And DP saying the hype has died and the thrill is gone. I think they're referencing Friendtech, but you could also probably say that for POAPs as well. Easy and Crypto saying POAP dropped the ball hard when they got that big money. All right, interesting. VGF, like Friendtech conceptually, bullish on the experiment, but bearish speculative bubble seemed to get a little too hyped ahead of its skis based on what had been delivered.
That is every single innovation in Web3. You could say the same thing and point NFTs into that sentence. You could do the same thing and point ICOs and put it into that sentence. All of these have great use cases, but they're often ahead of their skis on the speculative nature of it and how fast people come in for this honeypot. So, yeah, great point there. All right, last two quick news, and then Gif, I want your take on a last major topic. I'm not going to dive into Zed Run, man. Zed Run's been around forever. It looks like they are turning a page into their future. Our team is excited to announce our ongoing commitment to advancing Zed Run, unwavering dedication fueled by the expectations of the community. We are here for the long haul, resolute in our mission. So I dropped that in chat. If you want to look at the updates, it looks like there's some gameplay and some breeding mechanic updates there. Shout out to Zed Run for being around still.
What is the mission of Zed Run?
Horse racing.
It's gambling on horses.
I don't know if have you ever been to Dave & Buster's?
Yeah.
There was specifically a horse racing game.
The water guns?
Not the water guns. Pistol. It was actually like, I forgot what it was called. It was like Breeders' Cup trophy. And you this is actually crazy. I don't know, Gif, if you've played this game, but you would take a card home. Like, it would print out a receipt and you could bring it back. And you would like raise this horse and train it and race it against other people. It was a really innovative game. There's honestly some concepts that probably Zed Run took. But yeah, racing your horses, breeding your horses. It's digital horse racing. So that's that.
Yeah, a lot of not very positive sentiment for the dumb horses apparently in the comments. Easy asking, should I pick up a DeadFellaz? We're not financial advisors, Easy.
Wait, what? Prodigy, why are you so mad?
Why you gotta fill up our comments thread with profanity, bruh? But Easy, look, I'm bullish, man. I've got a handful of them and I would be buying more, but I'm not a financial advisor. Do what you do, man. But I don't know. I think it's one of those ones that's been very beaten down, that has proven it has a good team and builders behind it, that has cool IP and will probably do well when things turn around. So I don't know. That's my thesis on it, man.
Is that Run?
No, talking about DeadFellaz, bro.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Easy's asking, should I snag one? And I'm saying,
Got
do what you want to do. I'm the bullish one up here. I got a bag.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna play one trailer, and then we're gonna get into our last episode or last topic for the episode. This is not gonna be a deep dive on Yuga Labs. We're barely even hitting on this. I'm just gonna play the trailer. Forge starts tomorrow. It's a super important moment for Bored Ape Yacht Club, for Yuga Labs. The heavy metal has taken a backseat, I think, to even like a rec league, for example, but definitely some others. Legends of the Mara is being teased now, so they need a win tomorrow. This needs to be good. We'll see what happens. I'll play the trailer, and then we can come out and touch on our last topic as well. September 7th. So we see that tomorrow here, and we will be streaming it here live on the either the Mothership or my personal channel. I think we'll do Mothership though. Should be interesting.
I think so. We've been talking about it forever here, but look, do what makes sense, feels right for you. Nifty Q.
DP saying, I wouldn't say that everything is ahead of its time. The truth is that Web3 has an execution problem. Not saying that everything is ahead of its time. I'm just simply saying that there's a lot of really cool innovations, and people are attracted to this space because of honeypots. So when Ethereum raises an ICO, which a decentralized Kickstarter makes a ton of sense, but when you get 1,000, 10,000 different projects trying to do the same thing, often with nefarious actions, it ends up dying. Like the hype speculation kills it. You saw it with play to earn gaming. You saw it with ICOs. You saw it with NFTs. That's all I'm saying. All right. Gif, what was your last take there?
I forgot, man. I've been brain dead this entire day. Other than I'm so not ready for Forge, and yeah, man, you're right. They need a win, and they need to make the gameplay itself more enjoyable, just in general. Like, the design is cool and neat from like an aesthetic standpoint. The characters and the NFT integrations is novel and awesome. It's so cool to be able to actually play a character in a game that actually looks high quality graphics and like has interesting mechanics. I will say the voting shit threw me off.
It's bad.
And I think it threw you off too. Like you were like waking up and like it was fucking you up and shit. The voting shit I don't think has paid off or been interesting to me personally. I'm sure some people have gotten a lot out of it that want to play that game. So the voting thing, not a fan, and it seems like they're going to continue with that. So for me personally, I don't know about that, and I'm just not ready right now with my forges. So I don't even know if I'm going to get into the rift. So I have to say, right now, for me personally, I've been enjoying getting into Parallel way more than getting into Heavy Metal Forge. Just because the gameplay,
it's not a fun game. Heavy Metal's not a fun game. And
that sucks to say. Like I don't like saying it, you know. But I still think that they're at the beginning doing novel things and experimenting and trying different things that nobody else is trying. And the amount of different mechanics and tokenomics and things that they're building into this, nobody else is doing that yet, other than maybe something like a Parallel. So I'm still very bullish on where they're trying to go, but they clearly need to figure out more interesting gameplay. And you know, again, like Prodigy talking about Dookie Dash, like they've done fun gameplay in a simple arcade, you know.
Shorter amount of time. If Heavy Metal Forge lasted 3 weeks, I think we would have been like, it was pretty fun. Like, yeah, the voting sucked, but it's this 12 weeks. It's the 14 weeks of the same shit. And it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, dude. Last topic here. If you see any comments that you'd like to hit on as well before we wrap up, let me know. This is in the gaming sphere as well. We just have to recap this again. Creator League, the whole Fallout. This is one of the wildest things that I've seen. So apparently, Creator League and eFuse is like not going to be a thing. It's not like it failed to launch. I thought this was just one creator kind of coming out and speaking against it, and there was going to be some backlash. Literally, the whole thing is folding up. A bunch of people have gotten fired, and this was the announcement they put out yesterday afternoon to appease. I don't know who they're appeasing the gamer base, I guess.
No. They are appeasing the normies who subscribe to these people on YouTube.
Well, those are that. Unfortunately, those are gamers right now. That makes up a majority of gamers.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. The normie gamers. Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe I misunderstood. But 30% of their staff is laid off, and they're postponing this entire production because of this one influencer making it like a grandstand soapbox moment for him to engagement farm off of the hate. So just understand that because you don't understand the technology and you're scared of digital collectibles and wanted to cowtail or whatever that's saying, cowtail, I think, and you wanted to basically acquiesce to the screaming idiots in your comments and be like, oh, you're right, I'm so sorry, how could I ever do this? Like, because you wanted to make this about you fighting some kind of virtuous fight against Web3 technology, you basically ruined a business and a bunch of people's like dude, there were people writing on X that they just got laid off. They've been working on this for years. Or they've been working at eFuse for the last several years. There's people that have been working at this company for the last like 3-4 years, I think, that just got laid off because this is the reaction that you set off by making this a grandstand, us against the fucking evil NFT empire moment. So like, it's honestly, I think it's gross what this creator did, how selfish it was, but I also understand the pressure that they're under. So like, I can simultaneously understand that you're getting some negative comments and shit, but dude, you signed on to this fucking project. You went through the contracting phase and didn't understand it, and you fucked up. And then you tried to twist it into, they did me dirty and wrong, these evil NFT people, they're all fucking evil, and basically collapsed an entire production and a business because of that. And a bunch of people lost their jobs.
Detail here that's super specific, that is one of the reasons why they had to fold up shop, is that the whole thing was essentially built around different creators in the gaming space. So the fact that those gamers are the main sole, like, people driving your product, or those streamers, that's why they had to shut down. If it was just like a different company and they were adding a Web3 concept and yada yada yada, maybe they don't fold up shop. But the whole thing started to crumble once one guy left, and then I'm sure other creators started to get blowback.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And so their whole concept is, let's get all these creators together. Well, all the creators left. So before I say this next piece, understand that point. This feels like almost like FTX level of plant. Like, before I started to break down, okay, that's why this kind of failed, because it's essentially like all the creators got together and said, no, we can't do it. We got too much blowback. This is like FTX level of L that was maybe planted by some type of people in Web 2. I know that that's not the truth, but that's what my initial reaction was like. How is this company that's not even in Web 3 yet just completely like dominating the headlines for Web 3? Like,
yeah, here's the thing. It is a really big L, I think, because again, all it does is spin tremendously negative headlines into the things that actually could cross over into like the mainstream pop culture within a target demographic and within gamers, and it just spins up more negative nonsense. So it is a really big L. The thing is, we're so insulated into it. Like we don't on the everyday actually see how negative. Actually, we do. I mean, we see a lot of the negative FUD, but we're not like those creators that get the comments of people just hating on them. Okay, actually, we do too. On YouTube, we get a lot of people telling us to like go and off ourselves. But look, it's just so the FUD is so real out there. The negativity is so out of control, ridiculous that they just cave to it. I've talked about this. I know artists that have been creating big NFT projects that are scared of their own followers on TikTok and Instagram and shit. They won't even go talk about their NFT projects because it's just such negative nonsense that gets hurled at them from these crazy vocal, like, again, like moralizers. Like, what are you like? I loved the video that you shared from, I think, that guy Gabe at the end of the episode. We should end with that again, because he shows how oxymoronic and dumb the stance against Web3 tech and digital collectibles is right now. Like, these are just protocols. Like, are you saying you don't want to, like, nobody should have cell phones because people use that to do phone scams? Nobody should use email because people use that to do email scams. It's the same dumb shit.
I will try to find the Gabriel Haynes piece. The most hilarious part of this announcement is them saying essentially, hey, we are not an NFT project, and because we didn't do this token, they had no transfer utility, which means there is no ability to resell. You're talking to the people who bought your things, and you're telling them that they can't sell it, and they're cheering. That is how fucked up the gaming culture is right now. That is how wild these people, their mind and processes think about this technology, that they're cheering the fact that they don't have any ownership over anything that they do. It's absolutely wild. Look, we've talked about this so many times that like at this point we're preaching to the choir, but it's in times like these where you see it. So we do have to wrap up. GIF, last point.
Well, the last thing there, to Beanie's point about that, was that it just doesn't even make sense the way that they're trying to now explain this, where they're saying we sold this token, but it's not a token, and they're not NFTs, even though they're on the blockchain. They're tokens on a blockchain, but they're not NFTs. Huh?
All right, I'm trying to find this Gabriel video. He does a bunch of them. So I need to make sure I'm getting the right one. Guys, thank you for joining today. DP, Prodigy, Easy and Crypto, Asmodai. Who else was joining us here? Squashman, I see you there. VGF, Fisker. I mean, all of y'all that tune in either live, Nox Darkness, Cam Taylor, all of y'all that tune in live, but also everybody that tunes in after the fact, leaves any replies in the comments, supports us on X, all that stuff, man. We're up here every day. We appreciate it more than we can even say. And I feel like we say it a bunch, but truly, I do mean that. So
we really
Marty,
appreciate the likes also.
Marty, I appreciate you as well, man. I do. You know it's true. All right. I can't find the Gabriel Haynes video, but I will try before we kind of roll out of here. I'll let you take us out, man. Go ahead.
I mean, what is there to say? We did it with your help. Thank you to all of y'all for participating in the chat, keeping it lit over there. Really enjoyed the convos. There's a lot of really interesting things happening, man. This whole like backlash against technology is going to be a fascinating one to play out. I'm going to go play a couple of games of Parallel right now. We're not sponsored by them. We should be. But if you want to get into that closed beta, come and challenge myself or this guy, the Bubblegum Cowboy. We'll be in there. That's it, man. Check out the rehash. It'll be coming in just the next hour or two on X. And we love and appreciate y'all getting onto that. And we'll be back with more GM Web3 and NFT Live tomorrow. Our Vibe, our tribe.
All right, our Vibe, our tribe. I could not find the Gabriel Haynes video. I failed you guys right at the end, but I have a chance for redemption tomorrow. We will be getting after it, like Gift said. GM Web3, NFT Live, our Vibe, our tribe.